So today we're going to be looking at a scenario where our drafted countries go to war. Now, if you haven't seen the video where I, did the whole country draft thing, you might want to go watch that, because if you don't watch that, this isn't going to make much sense. Well, it's not going to make sense in the terms of like why countries are on different teams, but this is just going to be a big war scenario. So I guess you don't have to watch that video, but if you want context, watch the video. There should be like an icon card here or something if I remember. But yeah, so if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and do all that fun, good support stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into this war scenario. That's right, we're not wasting any time. So just to recap a little bit, in the last video, which was the drafted video, we had Sweden and we had the Republic of Congo picking. And this is the teams that they came up with. The first overall pick was the United States, which went over to the Congo. Second overall pick was China, which went to Sweden. And from there, they alternated back and forth until eventually we got to this. So now a war has been declared, and these two sides will be fighting. In the last video, I also asked you guys to comment who you think would win this war, and a majority of you guys did say the blue team would end up winning. I don't know if I agree, because I don't know who would actually win. I'm not very smart, but yeah, fighting time. All right, so first off, we have the United States invading Mexico. Now, they go in over here from Baja California in order to separate the peninsula from the rest of Mexico, while also sending their troops in over here on the eastern coast, down to get Mexico City, which lies right about there. Overall, the United States is going to overall Mexico in pretty much every factor. Mexico is not a very strong country, and of course, the United States is a very strong country, so checkmate Mexico. In Europe, we have the Germans and the Austrians invading Czechia. This is more so just the Germans, because Austria isn't too powerful. We also see the Russians, Estonians, and Belarusians invade up into Latvia and Lithuania. And we have Australia and Indonesia invading up into Papua New Guinea. Now, this map might look a little bit weird. It's a little bit scrunched up, and that's because I'm a big dimwit. I'm a big stupid head, and I kind of like... So for my thumbnails, I have to like scrunch up the map in order to fit it in the 120/80. What am I saying? The 1280 by 720 frame, which thumbnails on YouTube are required to be. So I had to like, merge the continents a little bit and move Australia around. So if it looks a little bit weird, that's why. I didn't save the original map because I'm stupid. So we have to use the thumbnail map. All right, anyway, now over to Asia here. We have China and their surrounding allies invading Thailand. Now, Thailand is screwed. They are completely surrounded by blue people here. And being surrounded by blue people is not good unless you are a Smurf and you are into that. Or if you're just into it in general. I don't know. Some people are into some weird things. But Thailand is basically no match, and they are soon swarmed up by the blue team. This crusade, if you want to call it that, goes eventually into Malaysia and Singapore, until eventually this entire peninsula thing is captured by the blue team. Now, obviously it wouldn't happen like that fastly, or even like in real time. This is probably going to take course while other wars and things are happening. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I just sped through this area. There you go. Speaking of speeding through areas, Pakistan, I'm sorry, you don't have much of a chance. India is going to invade you up from the south, where you're most vulnerable. China is going to attempt to invade through the Kashmir region. Afghanistan is going to attempt to invade over here, and Iran's going to invade up from over here. Not a good spot to be in. We have the northern African countries ganging up on Libya and making them regret their decision to live. Morocco is going to meet a very similar fate, and Finland invades a little bit into Russia. Ah yes, war. So far there's no clear winner, maybe because the war just started. Anyway, the US is going to continue to push through Mexico, mainly focusing in on the coastal areas where there are the most people. Baja California is soon to fall. The Americans eventually make it down towards Mexico City and capture Mexico City. With that, Mexico is going to start to kind of crumble a little bit, but it will still hold for now. We have Jamaica being captured, and Brazil starts its invasion of South America, going into Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, and Uruguay. Might be a bad decision sending all your troops in like that. In Southern Africa, we have this country being not countryed. Zimbabwe is split in two. Malawi is they're dismissed. And overall, it's not a good day if you're from Southern Africa and just happen to be on the blue team. The Republic of Congo kind of helps itself out by pushing away Gabon. This is also kind of the Congo, the other Congo, the DRC doing this. But you do want to kind of protect your alliance leaders. We see Russia and its buddies continue to invade the Baltics until eventually they reach Poland, and Poland is going to do something different. First of all, they're going to go after their old pal Hungary and kind of meet up with Romania down here, but they are also going to go ahead and start to invade Germany. Not too much though, because Germany isn't about to have that. We see Sweden invade Denmark and take over Copenhagen and a bunch of these Danish isles, while up north, Finland's push into Russia continues to go well as they near St. Petersburg. In the Middle East, we have not good things happening. Syria is smacked. Iraq is smacked. This is not a good place to be, especially since, Syria and Iraq aren't the strongest of countries. they are going to get wiped out immediately by the stronger countries, which just happen to be on the blue team, including Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Syria just crumbles apart, Lebanon surrenders, and Israel is the only thing remaining. But let's just skip this part of the video. There we go, no more. Libya is going to lose Tripoli and they are going to surrender. Morocco is going to continue to hold out. The southwestern Africans are going to invade into Liberia and Sierra Leone. Ghana and whatever that is next to it is going to get invaded, and Nigeria will stand its ground. We have Argentina pushing back the Brazilians in Uruguay while simultaneously also pushing into Brazil. The Central Americans push into Nicaragua. Yeah, that's Nicaragua. And Croatia is up into Slovenia as well as into Hungary. Okay, so the world is a lot more blue than it was, and this is where the blue team does have the advantage. They are a lot more condensed and together than the red team, which is a lot more spread out across the world. Now, don't get me wrong, they do still have their clusters, like over here in Western Europe or Southern Africa, but when you look at it, the blue team is primarily right around in this area. So that is a huge advantage. Obviously, they probably aren't going to last too long in these areas as the red team has the advantage here. Same thing right here, but over here, that's a good advantage. The Middle East obviously is a huge advantage, and then Asia as a whole is under the blue team's will. Now, Europe is interesting. When I look at it now, it's really not that balanced. I know in the past video I said it was probably a little bit balanced. It really isn't. The red team has a really big advantage here with Russia, of course, Germany and France, as well as Italy and Greece even. So with their superiority in mind, we have these southern Europeans invading Serbia as well as Montenegro. Ukraine invades Moldova and goes into Romania. Poland continues to not be able to hold off the Russians as they lose Warsaw. Slovakia, who is barely even being invaded, surrenders. This leads to the liberation of Hungary and even the surrender of Czechia. Poland is very angry at its allies, something that has happened a lot before. With the red team in Southern Africa doing its duty and getting rid of all of these countries a lot quicker than they probably would in real life. Mexico finally surrenders over to the United States, and from here, the US is going to crusade through Central America, taking on Guatemala and Belize relatively quickly. Eventually, Colombians arrive on the front lines in Central America to help out their good old pal Nicaragua, and from here, Honduras and El Salvador surrender. North America is now locked in red, and South America is in for some trouble. Red team troops arrive in northern Peru and start to push back the country, eventually taking their capital city. Brazil invades further into Bolivia, also taking their capital. Paraguay surrenders. We have Chile pushing out and meeting up with Brazil. This effectively cuts the blue team into two pieces, and that is no bueno. Papua New Guinea eventually surrenders, and Oceania is locked in for the red team. Alright, so the red team's counteroffensive has gone pretty well, if you want to call it a counteroffensive, but the blue team has, I think they still probably have a good advantage over the red team. We have our first, is it our first major country? Maybe our first major country being knocked out, and that is Pakistan. They unfortunately are unable to hold off all of their neighbors, and they are forced over to the blue team. Now, Nepal and Bhutan, they are very strong countries in terms of geography. You would not be able to invade these guys, so they are going to go ahead and they're going to get invaded by me because I made the video. Joke's on you. Bangladesh, same thing. I can make them hold out, but in the long run, they're not going to last. Also, I just remembered something. The merch is going away today. So you're seeing this on Saturday. Hopefully, I might have died. Who knows? But if you're not seeing this on Saturday, then I'm dead. Or I forgot. No, I don't forget. I don't know. If you're not seeing this on Saturday, a very bizarre event must have occurred. But the merch is going away today, like I said. Use code 100K away. It's probably linked in the comments. If not, then it's on the website. It literally tells you. For 30% off, discounted on larger orders. I know it doesn't going to work on like one item or two items. It might work on 3 or 4. It's very finicky how it works, and that's to do with the website. That's not to do with me. I can't control it. I'd love to use a different website, but I just don't know how. So yeah, pick it up before it's gone, because that limited stuff is never coming back. So if you didn't pick up a 100K exclusive thing, womp womp to you. Back to the war. Turkey, invasion. Saudi Arabia, invasion. Goodbye, Oman. South Korea is being invaded, and they just made a landing in Indonesia. So I think China is most likely focused in on Southeast Asia right now to knock out Indonesia and Australia, and then I think they'd probably go after Russia and Japan. But yeah, I would be probably more focused on knocking this out. All right, invasion into Ethiopia and South Sudan. Nigeria is still holding strong though. Over in South America, Peru surrenders as well as Bolivia. Uruguay, who thinks they're doing a lot, isn't really doing anything as Argentina is pushed out of their country and the Brazilians allow themselves to enter. Eventually, Argentina's capital is captured, and after looking at the situation they're in, Argentina nopes their way out of this and surrenders. So the two America continents have now gone to the red team, and that is going to hurt the blue team a little bit because that is something you really don't want to lose. You don't want to lose your grip on the other side of the world, because then that side of the world is no longer distracted on themselves. Instead, they're going to be distracted and focused on you. So now these troops from all of these countries are heading to Europe and Africa, and now the tables have turned. Although we do have to keep in mind that these are countries that are running low on troops, more so the South Americans than the Americans, because the United States is America. I mean, come on, USA #1, right, guys? I apologize to the non-Americans, but a majority of you guys are Americans, so like I'm speaking to the majority there. Over here in Western Europe, we have Poland getting pushed out of Germany, and Germany doing the funny thing that it likes to do, which is to invade Poland in a very specific manner. But nonetheless, Russia and Germany meet up in the center and they split Poland, which effectively kicks it out of the war. Now Russia is going to go ahead and stop its ambitions in Europe and focus in on Finland as well as Kazakhstan. So Russian troops start to invade Kazakhstan, only to meet literally nothing, because there's not that many people in Kazakhstan. I don't imagine them defending well at all either. I feel like that this area in general, maybe even like parts of China and Mongolia, there's not going to be much defense there because there's literally nothing here except for like, you know, a natural resource here or there. But if you're the red team, go take this, because it's going to look better. It's going to make you look stronger. If you're the blue team, don't waste too much on it. Already now here in the Caucasus, we have the blue team pushing up into Georgia and Russia. And finally, we see Morocco surrender over to the blue team. In Indonesia, we have them losing this island. And eventually, there is a landing made on Borneo. South Korea surrenders to the blue team. And oh, that's not good for the red team, because they are losing a lot of valuable pieces. If China does succeed in taking over Oceania, which is going to be very hard to do, but you know, India is there on their team as well as Iran. And I'm sure those two countries are going to be aiding over here. So if they are able to take out Oceania, that is not good for the red team. That is not what you want. You do not want China focused in on taking out Russia, because Russia is your second strongest country. You don't want to lose them. And actually, I want to look up the global power thingy majiggy real quick. Global firepower, is that it? I know they released a new one. Global firepower. So USA still #1, Russia #2, China #3 is, wow. Wait, is Russia really not that far behind the EU? I don't know if I agree with that. I think we could take them on pretty easily. But India #4, the UK is now #5, South Korea is #6 still, Pakistan moved up to 7, Japan dropped to 8, France dropped to 9, and Italy is still #10. Interesting. And then Turkey is #11, and Brazil's 12. Indonesia moved up to 13. Ukraine up to 15. Ukraine's at 15? It's really only got to be because of the Western supply. That's my only guess. Okay, war. Yes, war is good. No, war is not good. But you guys like watching war, so war is good, right? Slovenia and whatever was going on there didn't work out. This entire region is going to fall over to the red team because I said so. But Turkey will keep their little hut over here in southern Europe as they invade more and more of this region. They also start going after Greece's islands, taking over every single one of them. That's right, all 100 or 300 or 10,000, I don't know how many islands there are, but they are all Turkish now. I know a lot of Greeks just got offended from that, and I don't apologize. This thing is dead. Nigeria, you are very bold. Ethiopia is going to go ahead and kind of solidify itself, whereas South Sudan will not be doing that. They said that is for the weirdos, and they end up surrendering. And now the frontier into Central Africa is open for the blue team. However, they want to knock this out of the war. They are tired of this stunning image of a country right here. All right, so the Americans are here, and that's not good. They are invading into Mauritania as well as Senegal and this thing, which is known as Western Sahara, but does it really exist? Hell no, it doesn't exist. It's in the ocean. With Central Europe now dead, the red team is going to focus in on Scandinavia, more so Sweden, and trying to knock them out of the war. So they start their invasion in the south of the country, and it's very slow, and that's all she wrote. Russia manages to push back Finland just a little bit, and now over to Indonesia, where we have all of Malaysia and Brunei. They surrender. Indonesia basically ditches this island and is going to go ahead and come down here to Java to hold off probably the more important part of their country, although I'm not sure the population of Borneo. I might sound really dumb right now. I probably am. Over here in Africa, we have the red team pushing back the blue team and eventually finally meeting up with Nigeria in order to relieve them. Except they're not relieved because the blue team finally broke in and they are coming in from the north. Now, the north is very desert-like, so I'm not sure how great this is. But we're going to go ahead and assume that the red team is able to hold them off and there's no more gains from the blue team into Nigeria. Now back to Europe, where we have breaking news. You know how Sweden was holding out? Well, yeah, they're not doing that anymore. The red team pushes up and manages to capture Stockholm, and that is the leader of the blue team now pretty much dead. The Finns are gonna kind of back off of Russia a little bit in order to protect over here, which leads Russia to break through their front lines, which they held for a very long time. And a little bit of a mistake on Finland's part because they didn't really retreat right, and now the Russians are pushing in, but luckily for Finland, they are able to stop them. In Southern Europe, Turkey is stopped, but in the Caucasus area, we have the blue team continuing to push up into Russia. Russia continues to do things to Kazakhstan, which it did not consent to, until eventually Kazakhstan surrenders. The Americans swiveled away around Africa until eventually there's no point in doing so because the two sides are going to meet for peace. All right, so in essence, I think the red team has won in this scenario, but if we give the blue team more time, I do think they can come out on top. In terms of what if like in terms of peace deal, like they would gain more from a peace deal. Right now they're going to lose a lot from the peace deal, but if we give them enough time, they're going to gain more than lose more. But speaking of time, there is no more time. Time is over. Time is endless in the essence of the universe. However, our short lives compare nothing to the lifespan of the universe and what was and what is to come. This video is now ending. Goodbye. Except it's not goodbye because we're informally formal here. So, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the blue team would eventually win over time? Or do you think the red team will be able to hold out and push back the blue team? I think all the red team really has to do to win this scenario is obviously capture all of Scandinavia, Britain. You could try to invade the Middle East, although I don't think that will end well. I would say go after Northern Africa, take over all that, and meet the Middle Eastern border over here in the Suez Canal. And then at that point, you can force the blue team into a peace. Now, that is probably how you're going to win. If you're the blue team, take over Oceania, get all of that, take Japan, invade up into Russia. I'd say you want to try to push back in Europe, maybe grab all of this if you can. Obviously, this land isn't too important. Don't really worry about that too much. You want to push these guys back. And you definitely want to go after Germany and France. You know, if you can do that, if you can take over Europe as a blue team, I'd say you can force the Americas into a peace deal. Because no matter what... Eagle? Because no matter what, the Americas are going to be red in this scenario. I don't see any situation in which Mexico, Argentina, and Peru, they can push back the Northern Americans, Canada and the United States, and then also Brazil and Colombia. Don't think it's powerful. Don't think they're powerful enough. Don't think it can happen. So in essence, it could come down to New World versus Old World. That's already a video, so go watch that video instead of finishing this one. But yeah, ending now. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Do all the good support stuff, thingies. If you guys have seen my last video, which was the change video, you'll know that I don't really enjoy doing mapping anymore. You know, sometimes you can have fun with it, but I feel like mapping overall, I don't have as much fun as I'd like to. And when you're on YouTube, like I said in that video, you have to have fun with what you're doing. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, you need to change what you're doing. And that's why I plan on moving on from mapping soon. There's going to be a few more mapping videos before I officially change over to something else. I still don't even know what I'm changing to. I'd like just to do whatever I want to do. That's extremely hard to do as a smaller, larger channel. But yeah, so expect change. If you're still here, thank you. Also, this video isn't being edited by someone different, but they are going to edit this video, just a different copy of it. I am in the process of maybe hiring an editor. I do want to see what they have before I officially hire them. But, you know, if they can do that for me, that's going to be great because then I don't have to stress out as much. I don't really enjoy editing at all in like any other subject. I never really have. It's very tedious for me, and I like making the content, uploading content. I don't like fidgeting with it. So once again, thanks for watching. Buy my membership, buy my merch, and goodbye. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Patrick Clauser, Yo Moma, Texan Cowboy Cheese, Kylie Speaks Plays, Poland Country Ball, Dimitri, DW Cool Dude, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Yakko, Soviet Ball, and Serminator. Once again, thank you guys.